Okay, so this should be a little bit more of a fun episode.
Yeah, I'm kind of excited about this one. Yeah, I'm excited.
Kind of. I don't have like a huge direction to go with here.
We're just gonna talk about how movies suck.
Yeah, I mean, at least over the last couple of years. So okay, well let's start off. Do you remember MoviePass?
Yes, I do.
So I would remember I was one of the original ones that signed on to that thing when it opened.
Yeah, you were so big on it.
It was like $10 a month, I think.
Yeah, and was it for unlimited movies, right?
Unlimited 2D movies. So no 3D. And the thing is that you couldn't book anything like in advance. So that meant if there was a movie that was just coming into theaters, you know, the like how do you get that, you know, before it sells out because other people are doing it.
Yeah.
So one of the things I remember doing with my friends was we went to a movie the night before a big opening. I think it was one of the big Avengers movies. We went to a movie before, a really late one. So it got out at like 11:30 and we just waited around 30 more minutes and popped back inside the movie theater doors when the last movie exited. And so we popped back in and then got to our screen. As soon as it hit midnight, we were able to book tickets for that day. So that's how we were able to see them. But it was pretty limited. And there's lots of other movie subscriptions that have come out. Actually, MoviePass went under, but they're coming back this year.
Yeah.
But the thing is that $10 a month, I was watching like 3 to 5 movies.
You were huge on it.
There was that many.
They were pretty good.
Yeah, and I'm not even talking about watching movies twice. I'm talking about that felt like there was probably 3 movies, maybe 5 in the summer that I could watch a month that were new, and they were all pretty good. But since those times, it's kind of gone downhill. And one of the big players that I think we could focus on is Disney.
Yeah.
What has Disney been doing, especially in the live action field? I think their animated stuff has been kind of a hit or miss. They've had some good stuff and they've had some bad stuff.
The first thing I need to ask is, are our mics on? I don't feel like I can hear myself.
You can't hear yourself? I can hear you.
Okay, as long as you can hear me, that's fine. Yeah, so I don't know. With Disney, I just feel like they've... Oh, that's very loud. Turn that back down. Perfect. That's great. Okay.
I just want to make sure.
Yeah, so Disney has only made press for like bad movies. The first thing I think about is Lightyear. That's always the first thing I think about for like any of their recent movies. Trying to think of what else. I know they did like Disney Plus did this whole slavery thing that I have not taken a look at. It's like for kids. It's like this animated thing.
I haven't heard about that one actually.
Yeah, I've watched it and it's just kind of, it's whatever.
Is it you said it's animated?
Yeah, it's animated. It's like for kids.
I haven't heard of that one.
Yeah. See if you can. It's like a little like kids.
It's like they're making up for past sins.
Song of the South. I think that's what it is. Yeah.
Maybe I did hear.
No.
No, that's like the really old one.
That's not it. It's like look at like animated series. Disney's like.
It's a series or a movie?
A series, I think.
When did it start?
Recently. Just put slavery in there though. History of slavery.
Oh, are you talking about the Proud Family?
Click on it. Click on it. Because I'm not sure. Yes, that's it. There we go. That's it.
Okay, so that's not a new one. This is a remake, which is something else I wanted to talk about.
Okay.
So I heard a little bit about this. Disney cartoon slam for claiming America was built on slavery. Yeah, so
admittedly, I don't know a ton about this. That's why I literally didn't even know what it was
called. So this is fun. I used to watch The Proud Family when I was a kid. I enjoyed it. It was one of the... We didn't have a ton of cartoons because I didn't grow up with cable. So this type of stuff... I don't even remember what channel I would see this on. I think I usually saw it on Saturday mornings. But I don't remember where it came from. I grew up with Foxbox and... what was it? Before they turned it into the stupid 4Kids TV. And Warner Brothers always had their WB Kids on Saturday mornings.
I wasn't allowed to watch any of this stuff. I watched a show called I think her name was Pika. It was a little Asian show, and she was like in love with this. And listen, she was in love with this, and it was an animated show. Her name was Puka, and she was in love with a ninja named Guru. And Guru was not interested in Puka. But it didn't matter because Puka was obsessed with Guru, and Guru had a long-standing issue with this other ninja named Toby. And so Puka would always end up saving Guru from Toby the ninja.
Is it this?
Yes, I think that's it. Oh my gosh, my childhood. Yes. Puka. We would watch Puka every night. This makes me seem so Asian, doesn't it?
I don't know. Somehow less.
We were obsessed with this show, though. It was so funny. Anyway.
Okay, so that's what you grew up on.
Yeah.
I grew up on Sonic and Ninja Turtles and...
we watched Power Rangers. It was Power Rangers and Puka.
That's funny. My parents would not let me watch Power Rangers because the demons that were in it that they fought.
It depends. It depends on the season. Anyway, we can't get into this now. Okay, so
no.
So we have the Proud family here.
Yeah, Proud family doing their stuff. But it's a remake. And quite honestly, it feels like it comes right in line with Warner Brothers screwing some stuff up as well. Have you heard about the new Scooby-Doo show that doesn't have Scooby-Doo and it's all about Velma?
Yeah, I heard that was like a total flop.
Well, they renewed it for a season 2 despite it being hated on by pretty much everybody.
So they're basically committed to this idea while losing money.
Oh yeah, here. So do you know the traditional Scooby-Doo cast?
Yeah. I've actually watched some of the Scooby-Doo stuff.
Okay, so Scooby-Doo's not in it. That's the first thing.
But he's Scooby-Doo.
Scooby-Doo's not in it.
But
the show's called Velma, and it's about Velma. And honestly, from what I've seen of it or the reviews of it, she's voiced by Mindy Kaling from The Office, who I find extremely annoying. It feels like she's inserted her own person into this character, which is the opposite of what she should be doing. But
you're playing a character.
She's not playing a character. She's playing herself. I'm trying to remember everything that is with Velma in this. She's kind of a man-hater, kind of a super progressive. I believe she's Indian in this. Daphne is a red-headed Asian, by the way, who's the popular girl at school. Shaggy is... he's using his first name, which is Norval. That's canonically correct, but his nickname has always been Shaggy. But they've made him black and he hates drugs, which is kind of the opposite feel you get for Shaggy from Scooby-Doo. Is that anybody in the gang, he's probably the one smoking weed. He just is. And then he's craving food and eats Scooby snacks. Yeah. And then Fred is still white, but he is just this god-awful rich douchebag who's a womanizer, and he's horrible. Like, he's literally there for audiences to hate on him, and that I haven't seen a redeeming quality yet about him or the show. But they've taken, honestly, they probably could have done better if they would have just taken his show, made these characters, not linked it at all to Scooby-Doo, and just did their own thing. But I don't think that kind of story these characters were going to pitch very well. So like, well, we got to try something really adulty.
I feel like here's my feel on it. I feel like the reason why they're doing these horrible remakes is they're trying to reinvent the past more politically correct and more woke the way they want it. That is my opinion on it.
That's an interesting take.
That's why they have to, like, because honestly they could just because you think about this, like, these characters, Scooby-Doo, basically it's not Scooby-Doo. It's just a bunch of characters that maybe somewhat have the names of these people.
That's pretty much it.
That's
they have
it.
The names.
Where they could have just made a whole show, but why didn't they?
Mm-hmm.
I feel like they needed the name. They want to reinvent it, and it's not working. And most of the audience is not for it. It's just not good. Like, it's objectively not good.
Yeah, and speaking of objectively not good, one of the articles that I was looking up this morning, I think this one from Forbes actually, it's talking about the Marvel movie rankings. And
yes.
They talk about how there's a difference in the Black Panther movie in ratings. So this list here gives you only the critic score, which I kind of take issue with because...
And this is Rotten Tomatoes, right?
Yeah, this is Rotten Tomatoes, who I hold in contempt a lot.
Very well.
But nevertheless, the ratings are interesting. So Black Panther is kind of interesting because it's 96% from the critics and 79% from the audience.
I mean, it was a I think 79% is correct. It was a good movie.
Yeah, somewhere between that, yeah. I'd say 85 for me. It was a solid movie. It was a little bit redundant about the coming back to fight. Like they fought 2 or 3 different times.
Yeah, I mean, I like fighting. I
definitely do as well. It was just kind of odd because you start off. That's what it is. It's who gets to be king trial by combat. We had 3 of those in one movie. Because it starts off with that guy from, I'm forgetting his name, but it starts off with the guy from the other tribe challenging.
Right.
He loses. And then we have Killmonger's character show up.
Right.
Wins. And then, wins for the time. And then we have our hero come back and face Killmonger again. So that is a little bit annoying to me that it just felt like they regurgitated the same plot 3 times over.
I get that.
But basically the guy over here at Forbes ends up blaming the difference between the critics and the audience on review bombing, saying that the audience just review bombed it because they're racist. And I'm like, well,
what's the Forbes on it? Is the Forbes article?
It's not that great.
What's the percentage on it? No, like the list up there, like.
Oh, well, they're just pulling from Rotten Tomatoes.
Oh, okay, so this is the same list. I got it.
Yeah. Okay. So in this list, where did they put? Where does Black Panther end up in? It's a 79. So it ends up ranked 20 amongst the user reviews.
Right, okay.
Which I think that's personally, I would put it higher than 20.
I would too. To be honest, I would as well. I don't know how Black Widow made it higher. I'm going to be honest.
Yeah.
Black Widow.
Or Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness.
No,
I didn't like that one. Yeah. Even Age of Ultron shouldn't be above it. So these are just the audience scores, but he basically goes in and talks about like 3 of the biggest differences between critic and audience, blames the lower audience score on Black Panther for racist review bombing, but simultaneously forgets that the critics who dare to say it wasn't a good movie are basically rating it highly because they don't want to be called a racist.
Yeah, it's almost
the same thing.
It's bullying.
Yeah, that's my problem with the idea of review bombing. While it certainly can happen, is that you can have the same thing. You could have it be made the number 1 because of positive review. I don't know, you wouldn't call it a bomb, but we saw this happen with American Idol actually years ago. There was a contestant named Taylor Hicks, and he was by far not the best contestant on American Idol by any means that you could measure, an artist in singing. And he got this fan group just developed that was like, we are going to vote him into number 1 and he's going to win American Idol. So they basically amassed this group online to vote for Taylor Hicks, and the rest of America was not able to outvote them. And Taylor Hicks won American Idol.
Yeah, it's mob rule essentially.
Yeah, and he shouldn't have. But that's one of the extra things that I just came in is that I don't like this idea of review bombing because it can go both ways.
Yeah. Well, let's look at this list though. Okay, how I did say Shang-Chi.
So that depends. Do you want to look at the users list, or do you want to look at the critics list, or we can compare them side by side?
I want to look first. Let's look first at the critic list and then compare it to what the users think.
So critics have Black Panther in at number 1 with 96%. Which I think it was really good. I don't think it's number 1.
I don't think so. I think it was a solid B+ to A-, in my opinion. I thought it was good. Mm-hmm. I liked it. Good enough for me.
Followed up, we have Avengers Endgame, which is the number 2.
I don't think that one should have been number 2, but that's just me.
We're probably not going to like this list at all, but if we read through it, we get Endgame, we get the first Iron Man movie.
First Thor Iron Man should always be up there. Good movie. Great movie. Good job. Spider-Man
No Way Home, Spider-Man Homecoming, Guardians of the Galaxy.
Homecoming was much better than No Way Home. So, yeah, I remember when...
You've got to deal with the nostalgia, though, of having the other Spider-Mans
I know. In this one. I remember when my partner and I went to go see it, and we had a whole debate about whether or not it was good.
I really liked it, though I did just have a friend the other night explain why he didn't like it, which was the whole...
I didn't like it.
I'm going to turn the villains good.
Yes, that was my problem. I was like, no, it's almost like victimizing them. And I was like, no, what are you doing? Stop.
Some of them are tragic. Like I would say Dr. Octavius was tragic because he never had evil intentions, but once he got fused to his arms, they messed up his head. Norman Osborn was always a dick. That didn't change. It just got enhanced with the Goblin Serum. And then who else was in there? Lizard was he's also more of a tragic villain.
Yeah.
The only real villain in there, and they did a good job making him out to be that in the end, was the Green Goblin.
Right. And I think, honestly, I thought his performance was fantastic. I thought he did a great job. I thought it was a good job. But honestly, though, the reason I didn't like that as well is that Doctor Strange, this is the whole issue now with Doctor Strange, is that his character is no longer consistent. He became a dummy from that movie onward. Okay, continue.
Yeah, so as we go on, we get the first Guardians of the Galaxy, then the original Avengers.
That one should have been way up top. All right, I hate this already. Really? Keep going. Yes, because it was fun. It was good. It was uncomplicated. I liked how all the characters meshed together. I thought it was a good movie.
Okay. Shang-Chi, Spider-Man Far From Home. I saw it once. I'm good.
Yeah.
Civil War, I think, should be higher, but more than any of these that I think is wrong with the critics for me is Winter Soldier. That should be up in the top 5.
Yeah, agreed.
I would say even top 3.
Yeah, great movie.
Original Doctor Strange, really liked it. Ant-Man and the Wasp.
I think it should be a C. It was a C. It's just an okay character. Yeah, it was an okay character.
Yeah. Infinity War, Guardians 2, Black Panther Wakanda Forever, which is just newly released.
I did not go to see that one.
I'm going to watch it at home. Yeah. Ant-Man, Captain America First Avenger, Captain Marvel, Black Widow. And note that these are 79%. So Captain Marvel, Black Widow, Iron Man 3 all ranked in at 79.
And these are the critics.
These are the critics scores. We have the original Thor movie, which was, good introduction to the character, but it was pretty boring, to be honest.
Yeah, agreed. It just served the overall Marvel universe.
This deserves where it's at down here in 26. I did not like Multiverse of Madness at all. Did you see it?
I didn't see it. I saw enough, though, of the CGI to say, nah, I'm good.
The CGI was bad. It just... Yeah. It was bad.
I watched enough reviews of it where I was like, the plot was weird sounding, and I was like, this doesn't make sense. But maybe I need to go. I just can't afford to watch all these movies. There's so many.
Oh well, they should be on Disney Plus now. So
I don't think we have it anymore.
Of course, we have Thor: Love and Thunder.
Didn't go see that one, so I don't have
now
an opinion.
This is hitting pretty hard. This is the critic review of Ant-Man and the Wasp. It's just released a couple days ago, actually.
Yeah,
last week. I can't remember. And then the Eternals, where it should belong.
It's 47.
Down in the very bottom here.
Yeah, that one just did not land with a lot of people.
Yeah, so I would say overall we have a high disagreement with the critic reviews of all of this. It just doesn't. Most of these just don't feel right to me.
Here's my issue though. Okay, so go back up. Black Panther's the top one. All right.
Yep.
This is ridiculous. Where imagine living in a world where you don't know if you got the top spot because of your skill or because you're black. I want you to think about that. End of story. That's it. That's all I got. It's
fair
annoying.
point. I think Black Panther had one of the best villains.
Here's the thing. I thought it was a genuinely good movie. I don't know how it made it to the top spot though. I think
amongst the critics,
yes. Yeah. That's my thing. I think it was a good movie. I liked it. I just think it should have been sharing that spot with at least 3 or 4 other movies.
Yeah, I think we could. I feel like I would feel safe taking the critics' ratings and the user ratings, factoring in the fact that sure we could have. Let's agree there was racist review bombing that made that score go lower. I would also argue you then have to take into effect that the critics, to not be racist, gave it a higher score than it deserved. So I would just take something in the middle.
So you'd average it out. Yeah, agreed.
Yeah, we've got 96 and 79. You're probably looking something in the mid 80s there, which I think is about right.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I think an 85% is good.
Yeah, Killmonger was one of the best villains that had a mission that you could sympathize with, and it really made you question who was going to be right. And then Winter Soldier for me was just like classic. He's a great villain.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Although he turns hero. I mean, he was hero before, turned villain, brainwashed, becomes hero again. And honestly, if there's spoilers for anybody, it's your own damn fault.
Well, you should have watched these movies a long time ago.
Yeah, they're getting
And
old.
if you're 12, why are you listening to this podcast? You know Connor's gonna swear every once in a while, don't?
Every once in a while.
All right. Let's take a look at that. Let's take a look at what the viewers are saying.
Yeah. So viewers, I disagree with as well. Spider-Man: No Way Home being up there at 98%.
Agreed. I think that's too high.
Shang-Chi being 98%. Shang-Chi was not that good.
I'm as Asian as they come. I didn't think it was that good. I thought it was a C+, maybe.
It would go up to a B+ for me if they took out Awkwafina.
Yeah, she was kind of annoying.
I feel the same way about Awkwafina that I felt about Rose in Star Wars, that the cheesy joke character gets shoehorned in as the sidekick. I don't like it. It didn't work in Star Wars, and it didn't work for me in this. Like, she did not need to be cracking a joke. It didn't work.
It didn't. She was not a good female character. And you can make good female characters, but she just wasn't one of them.
Yeah, Black Widow would be a female character that I think is a good character and got a movie way too late, and it was bad.
Yeah,
the CGI was bad. I didn't mind the story that much, to be honest. It was really just the CGI good. Didn't work for me at all.
I feel like it didn't. One, it was already delayed because of COVID, but
it should have been out way before COVID.
yeah, but also too, I feel like I actually liked some of the characters in there. I thought it had a lot of potential. Like, I didn't think the storyline needed to be 100% changed. I just felt it needed a little extra love, and I don't know what that means, but it just needed a little extra love, and I don't think it had.
I think the CGI team needed a bigger budget.
Fair enough.
That's kind of where I landed with it. It's just she was, for such a founding character for the Avengers movies and stuff, she got completely shafted. The fact that DC came out and popped out a Wonder Woman movie before that was good. The first one was good.
Yeah, the first one, I could go on and rave about how good the first Wonder Woman was, because they actually made a convincing female character that wasn't trying to be a man.
Yes,
and they did, and it was convincing because she's like a superhuman, right? So you can absolutely believe it. But she wasn't trying to be like, oh, I'm better than a man. Like, she was just being a strong woman. Bring strong women back, all right?
Yeah, she handled it. She handled it great. The second movie was just completely ruined
it was just
by just dumb writing. There is such a thing as when you don't have restrictions, things just become ridiculous. And in that movie, when they bring out a wishing stone, essentially, and they're like, well, if we give this to everybody in the world, I'm like, do you know how many emo kids out there would have just wished the world away immediately, and then you guys wouldn't be able to recover?
Yeah, it didn't
so make any sense at all.
Yeah, agreed.
And nothing was working.
No.
Like, none of the wishes were realistic, I think, to people, and it just created a mess of a movie.
But still, it somehow made it to 91%, which I don't agree with for Black Widow. I thought it was a C+ to B-.
Yeah, to match that with the original Iron Man, which I'm going to be honest, I'm not the biggest fan of the original Iron Man movie. Not like everybody else is.
Yeah, I liked it a lot. I liked it. I thought it was a solid movie that built Tony Stark's character.
See if there's any other movies in here that really just stick out as being a wrong rating.
Well, here's why I feel this way about Iron Man, is that Iron Man was a movie, when it was made, it was originally built to stand on its own. Like, with a lot of these other movies, now you have that pressure of making it tie into an overall story. With Iron Man, I felt like it could stand on its own because that's how it was built. Mm-hmm. And that made it focus on the character. And they developed Pepper Potts. Anyway, I thought that's why I liked it. I do understand, though, why you wouldn't feel that way. I get it.
Yeah, I thought it was good, but I never fell in love with it like everybody else did.
And I'm not saying I'm in love with it. I just thought it was good.
Yeah, it was a good movie. It was a good start.
Yeah,
definitely. It was a good start. Yeah, I feel like all of the original solo movies for the Marvel Cinematic Universe were good starts, but they were not amazing movies.
Except, I will say, I do agree with Guardians of the Galaxy up there.
Their first was probably their best, to be honest.
The characters, super fun. Mm-hmm. They worked well. It was classic Marvel in my mind. Funny,
it was good.
Not taking itself too seriously. Great movie. I agree with the audience. It definitely makes it up there in the top.
This is up here. The original Avengers, Infinity War. I think most of the Avengers, to me, are probably all about in the same range. They were all good movies. They did really fairly well for bringing in so many characters and handling them at the same time. Yeah. I'm still mad about a few things.
Sure, we all are. We all are. I don't agree, though, that Captain Civil War is lower than those. Civil War was much better than all three of those.
And I would argue Thor Ragnarok should be above all of those. I know some people didn't like Ragnarok because they thought that was too goofy, but somehow I've met people that thought that was too goofy, and then they liked Love and Thunder, which
I can sympathize with people not liking Thor Ragnarok because it really did change Thor's character. And maybe that's the change that Thor's character needed, but I will admit it does break the consistency.
It did break the consistency. We did see a little bit of Thor's ingenuity and devious side in the second one, which was the worst rated Thor movie until Love and Thunder came out.
Right.
Love and Thunder is actually now ranked just a little bit lower by critics and audience.
Because they just went too far.
World.
They went too far.
It was just insane. Waiki Watiti, I can't remember how to pronounce his name, or Taika Waititi. Probably saying it wrong every single time, but he just took the comedic. It was a comedic overload.
Yeah,
and
it was too much.
It just dumbed Thor down a ton. I think my problem with their original handling of Thor is that he was more of a pouty kid, which was, I think, right for the first one.
Yes, that was kind of the whole point, was that he was kind of a brat.
And then they just kind of let his character kind of die off in the second one. He just was not, I don't know.
He was nondescript.
Yeah, and they never power scaled him the right way that they should have from the comics, but that's neither here nor there at this point.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's
Multiverse of Madness doesn't deserve to be this high.
Agreed. It does not. Captain Marvel deserves that spot.
145.
Yeah, at the very bottom. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So the audience actually liked the Eternals. That was one that critics actually hated.
I agree with the critics. Well, okay, whatever.
Yeah, but here's those.
Iron Man 3 was good. I liked Iron Man 3. A
lot of people really didn't like it.
Oh, wow, I'm just dumb.
Okay, so I did like it because it was his hero. It was his real hero transition movie where he started becoming a lot more selfless and less selfish.
Yeah, I thought it was a good, he was on a good arc.
Yeah, his arrogance started going. Maybe they did it too quick for him, and that's why people didn't like it, because it felt like it was a big change from 2 to 3.
Yeah.
But I think the biggest disappointment was probably the villain. Was that they hyped up the Mandarin, which is a pretty big comic book villain,
and then they kind of made him actually just
Now they brought the actual Mandarin in, but why am I forgetting which movie that was in? Which one did they? So the one in Iron Man 3 was basically it was Shang-Chi. His dad was the actual Mandarin.
Okay.
So that was the problem that people had with Iron Man 3, was that they thought they were going to get a really cool villain, and then they get a fake who is basically posing for this other villain that is I don't think he was even a comic book villain.
Yeah, so the writers took a risk, and the risk did not pay off.
It did not.
Fair
but this isn't Disney's only endeavor that's been having a rough go of it. If we switch over here, we can see that they're Star Wars movies.
All right, this one, I have not seen a single Star Wars movie, not even one. So this is gonna be a lot of you just telling me how you feel, because I have no feeling.
Oh boy! All right, well. I think the critics have been maybe a little bit more aligned on this one, kind of. So we've got some of the originals. We got 2 of the originals up here, and then one of the newer ones.
Force Awakens.
That was the better of the new ones.
Okay.
But to compare what the audience has thought, so they gave it 93 with the critics. Audience thought 85. It's a good movie. It's not amazing. There was a bunch that called back to the old movies.
Yeah.
Which was nostalgic and good, but it also didn't really bring too much new stuff in. But let's see how they fared for the rest of it. We have The Last Jedi at 91% for Rotten Tomatoes critics and 42% for the audience.
Ooh. It just tells you, I think this is the one thing I have noticed, is that any movie that the critics rank high, the audience will rank slightly lower, if not very low.
Yes.
And so it makes me feel like these critics are being slightly pressured or bought in some way.
It's definitely odd. This one, now I haven't talked about The Last Jedi in depth or reviewed all the things I hated about that movie, but essentially it went against a lot of the headcanon from Star Wars. It broke Luke's character, who spends, the entire original trilogy believing that there's some good in his father and that he can be saved, even though he finds out his father is one of the top 2 baddest guys in the galaxy, basically enslaving planets to the Empire, all this stuff. And then in this one, we find out with Kylo Ren, which would be Luke's nephew, I guess. We find out that Kylo starts showing a little bit of darkness in him, and Luke freaks out and considers trying to kill him.
Well, maybe he's just traumatized from his dad.
I mean, but he successfully got his dad to turn back to the good side, or to the light, so it just...
I didn't feel
that.
Like
it was...
I tried. I tried.
It didn't feel like it was keeping in step with his character at all. And there was a bunch of other stupid things that they did in killing off people and not killing off other people, and just... Ugh.
This one's directed by Rian Johnson. The one that ranks top was directed by J.J. Abrams.
Yes, so J.J. Abrams started the trilogy, but he was busy with something else. Can't remember what it was. He was busy with something else. They gave the helm to Rian Johnson. He said, I'm going to subvert all the fans' expectations. He subverted them, but not in a good way.
Did, yeah.
He did it to piss them off. I'm fairly convinced that that's what he did. Rogue One, I'll bet you the fan score is going to be higher than this one, because that was an excellent movie.
Very close. They're very, very close.
They're very close. What's interesting about this one is that it takes place in between the first 2 trilogies. So you get episodes, they started off with episodes 4, 5, and 6, and then they did 1, 2, and 3. But this takes place before 4, which is fun because you get all these characters that are going to die.
Oh, great.
And then they have, Solo probably deserves that. Although, as a Han Solo character, that I kind of hated him. I not hated, but I didn't care. I did enjoy a little bit more of his backstory. It made me like him a little bit more. But for the people that were hardcore Solo fans beforehand, they were not happy about that movie.
Yeah, okay.
Now, this is funny because I think I fall in line more with the critics for this one. So Rise of Skywalker was 52% from the critics, and the audience gave it 86%. And for me, the only reason that I could potentially think that it gets an 86 is because they retconned a bunch of stuff that was messed up in the previous movie from Rian Johnson. So J.J. Abrams came back to direct this one.
Because he's like, man, you screwed up, Johnson.
So he did 1 and 3, which is just weird. But they brought Palpatine back from the original trilogy, which he was thought to be dead. I mean, he's been dead for a long time. And they just kind of brought him back, and they did a bunch of other weird stuff. And for the movie to make more sense, you'd have to read a whole bunch of extra, reading material and comics.
That's too much work.
But I mean, this is kind of what Disney's been doing. I feel like this is a more accurate list than the Marvel movies, to be honest. That shouldn't be number 4.
And I think to a certain extent, some of the reason why I think that's the case is that you have, not that Star Wars, and again, you correct me here, Star Wars, there's a lot more, it's all part of, really one big story. With Marvel, it's definitely a lot of separate stories that come together, so you are going to have a lot of differing opinions when it comes to those things.
For sure. The main story revolves around the Skywalker name. Yeah. Is essentially what it is. It's either, in the original trilogy, it's Luke Skywalker finding out about his dad, Anakin Skywalker, who's Darth Vader. And then in the prequel trilogy, it's basically how Anakin Skywalker becomes a Jedi and then eventually turns to the dark side. And then the most recent one is covering basically what happened to Luke Skywalker after, he brought his father back and freed the galaxy. And the hard part that I have about some of this stuff and why I get kind of annoyed with DC Comics as well is they have they have the source material.
Right.
And then they just don't use it, or they want to do something different. And to some extent, Marvel's done it as well. Like they use a lot for inspiration, but some of the stories are honestly just so good. I think they could just do it verbatim.
Yeah.
And bring it to the big screen.
I think there are points when creativity gets in the way where it's like if someone's created a really dang good wheel, maybe just be like, you know what? We're going to take this and we're going to honor the original creator and create just a solid, good story. But I feel like a lot of, especially like directors or actors, they want to insert their ideas into the story where it's like, listen, you're playing a character. Like, this is what the character is. Do it. Like, entertain us. Come on. We don't care about you that much. There used to be a point where actors and actresses were just vehicles for that entertainment, and now they've become like ideological, political, spiritual, or religious figures when I just want them to produce a good movie. That's really what I want at the end of the day.
That's what you're paying for.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not paying for Brie Larson's ideas on things. So enough about that. But I do agree with you, though. I definitely think there's something real rotten going on with all these movies suddenly just going downhill.
Yeah. I don't know what it is about it. It doesn't seem to be as many. Even a friend of mine that's had a Movie Pass subscription of some sort since Movie Pass's inception back in 2016 or 2017, has had one almost consistently throughout the years, is probably about to cancel it because it's like, I get 3 movies, probably paying like $20-$25 a month. He gets 3 movies. It's a pretty good deal, but he's like, there's not a ton of the theaters that I need to have for that to be used around me. Also, there's not enough movies I'd want to see in a month.
Yeah.
To even use them all. He's like, I just kind of picking random movies that might be good and I'll go see it.
Right. And I think too, and it's a broad point, which we won't be able to really dive into, but I do think what I said about putting in your own agenda, like a lot of it, Hollywood is left. They're really far left. And I think most people are actually more moderate than anything. Like a conservative can live with a moderate, like seeing a moderate point movie with some political views that they don't agree with. But it's like this massive push that's even making even just everyone just be like, I just want to watch like a fun movie.
Yeah,
I don't want to have to think about politics. That's just my 2 cents on it, especially specifically for Marvel Universe, where they got away from storytelling and got into telling people how to think, and people don't want that in their entertainment.
Nope. It gets old when every time, every movie doesn't have, what it reminds me of? It reminds me of the, like, shows like Arthur and the Berenstain Bears or Berenstain Bears, whatever the right way to pronounce that is. They always had a point to make in the movie because they're giving lessons to children on life problems or morality. And I mean, it works as a kid's show, but to then take these adult conversations and just shoehorn these things into movies, I think people get tired of it.
I think that they are. Like, I just don't feel like I need to have like a transgender character or an LGBTQ plus character shoved down my throat. I think what's obnoxious about it is I know what they're trying to do. Like, and the writing's so bad that it's obvious they're trying to teach me a lesson. It's like, go away. Like, I just want to watch a good movie. That's all I want.
And I think part of the shoehorn feeling is that they make it a central and integral part of that person.
Right.
Even if there's not a relationship involved, it's like they have to make it absolutely clear that is what this person is.
Yeah, well, that's why, like, there are plenty of movies where it's like, especially with, more of these like Marvel movies where like it's a fun action movie where there's really no point in talking about sexuality constantly. Like, what's our obsession? At all? Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Is like they obviously, it's so obvious that it doesn't belong there that they have to like shove it in, and we all notice it. We're all just like, what the heck? Like, they're supposed to be like fighting these villains, I feel like the next villain is going to be the straight white male that's trying to make the whole population straight. It's like, no, we got to stop that. Oh, no. And it's just like, okay, I want to be done. It's like, I'm just done. But yeah, Marvel, get your crap together. You're going to go downhill pretty fast.
Disney, yeah. All of that
they're
stuff.
together.
And they're also just cranking out the movies so quick. that the quality has definitely gone hill.
It's sloppy. It's bad writing. Bad character development. It's just bad. But I don't know. I mean, you guys in the comments, let us know what your favorite Marvel movie is, your worst Marvel movie, your best Star Wars movie.
Yep. You know, we'll throw DC Comics in there as well.
Tell us why too. Just tell us why you think it's the best or it's the worst. Give us a succinct, good argument to chew on, and maybe we'll talk about it in our next episodes.
Yes, I would enjoy that.
Yeah, that'd be fun. I know you like that. All right, I think that's it. Yeah, for that.
No, we're out of time.
Yeah, we are out of time.
It's been fun.
Yeah, it has, actually. I've enjoyed this. Nothing I don't enjoy about talking about deep topics that destroy people's lives, but
except she hasn't watched Star Wars yet.
I haven't. I don't have time for every single movie franchise. But actually, I have seen on our road trip to Florida when I was like 9. I do remember maybe 10 minutes of a Star Wars movie.
A Star Wars movie. You don't even know which one it was.
Nope. No idea. I do know that Princess Leia has like a gold bikini.
Yes, she does. That was a funny thing coming of age.
Oh gosh. Yeah. I remember seeing it, I was like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, no, watching it as a kid, never thought about it twice, and then as puberty hit, and then you rewatch it and you're like,
she's wearing a gold bikini.
Why is this attractive now? It's never occurred to me before. I've seen this movie 36 times.
Yeah.
We had it recorded on VHS off of TV.
Oh, that's funny.
So I would just forward through the
commercials
and stuff.
That was a thing. I forgot about that.
I did not, because I'm older than you.
Oh, yeah.
Cassette tapes?
Oh, yeah. Totally had cassette tapes. Yeah.
Cassette tapes, VHS.
Yeah.
My
brother's about your age, so you know.
So some of that stuff was still laying around.
Yeah, it's all still there. I just don't remember it.
All the nostalgic stuff. And she doesn't remember what 10 minutes of a Star Wars movie she watched.
Nope, it was late. So
I'm gonna tell your boyfriend he needs to get you to watch them.